Hey guys, it's Derek Everitt and Adam Beesley from the Deathpiles and Taxes podcast that you're listening to right now.
Your favorite accountant, I know. It's the greatest thing in the whole world.
A lot of you have been asking what you can do to help the podcast out, and seriously, all we want is a review.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a 5-star review, but if not, be fair, at least a 4.
We know you're listening. Like I said, we see the numbers. We're all over the world. Like I said, it's just we see it. We appreciate everyone listening. Help us get a little higher up there. Help us get more new
Helps
listeners.
with the algorithms. People can help find us out, and it really does help. So if you can go to Apple, iTunes, that's where a lot of you are already listening, or wherever you're listening.
Spotify, Apple, all of these different things. They're all out.
Wherever you listen, give us you don't even have to write a review. Just give us 5 stars. If you want to give us a review, that's cool too. We appreciate it, and keep listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
D-Roy, it is tax time on the Deathpiles and Taxes podcast.
I know I have to schedule an appointment to get in here to do a podcast.
It is episode number 122 of Deathpiles and Taxes. We have got some great stuff happening tonight.
It's exciting. Got a cool guest coming in. Excited to talk with them. I guess I always act like it's a secret, but I always put it up in the header so everyone knows who's coming on anyway. So
Yeah, we'll throw that in the second half. We've got the man from the Boogers.
we got the big booger. I don't know what to call him.
The ticket man. He's the guy that started it. Cool story. You have to catch out why it's called Boogers. I really liked it. It was intriguing to me.
Well, we have him coming up in the second half, and now everyone's fast forward to the second half, Adam. So you got to get some action, keep them entertained, keep the people here, give them what they wanted.
You said something about stories. Like I said, this is your podcast for learning about making money online, whether it's cards, whether it's tickets, whether it's crazy stuff from the DI, whether it's NFTs. We're going to make you money left and right.
Old Barbie doll clothing,
That's, yes.
McDonald's trays from the 70s.
Women's purses.
We do it all.
We make the money and we
Adam, you said you had a lot going. You said you had some stuff. You're bringing the heat. You're bringing the action.
Boy. You said something in the interview that triggered my mind, so you're going to have to listen to the interview. But had a client in here last night. We've been friends for a long time, and come to find out, he and his brother used to have a card store in the back of a place in Fillmore back in the early 90s.
That must have been the cool thing to do.
Apparently we didn't have that, but he told me he is sitting on 3, count them 3, legit 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan cards.
He's not this kid that was online the other day that I was going to bring up, was he?
I don't know.
There's this guy online the other day, and it's in these Facebook Marketplace groups, right?
I doubt it's him.
You got to be careful about this because me and Adam met up with the meth head a few months back. It's probably a year ago.
It's over
a year ago. That's how time's flying when we're having a good time. But anyways, this is kind of a similar story. I saw this guy had, several Michael Jordan rookies that he's selling off for like $20 or something crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, these are obviously reprinted fakes, right? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And I said, you got 5 Michael Jordan rookie cards and you don't know if they're fake or not? Well, I have no idea. And I said, well, where did you get them? I got them from my grandpa. I said, your grandpa had 5 Michael Jordan rookie cards. You got them, and you're selling them for $20 a piece. Well, I don't know. So I'm hoping this wasn't from Fillmore, and I've just insulted one of your clients.
I can promise you it was not. We got talking about stuff. He saw the cards, and he dropped the bomb. He says, I've got 3 Jordans, and we were looking them up. He says, one has a severe crease. And I says, that's all right. The other 2 were guessing maybe it would be PSA 5s. So I told him, I says, you get those cards, you get them to me, and I will submit them for you.
Man, I was going to make a cash offer, sight unseen. You call him up right now, you tell him I'll give him $100, sight unseen, as is, cash offer, that stands.
I already tried it. So
that stands. Why do you have to look it up with him? You should have said, I got a buddy, he'd be interested. Now, with a crease in there, I don't know. Michael Jordan had a pretty good career, and cards are coming back a little bit, but PSA just raised their prices. If you've been on the internet at all or on Facebook, I know all of our listeners know, PSA's prices went through the roof.
The world
it's gonna
is
be
over.
It's going to be a year or so before we get these back. I'll take them off your hand. Okay, I'll do $150 a card. Yeah, $150 a card. What do you say?
There's a reason that you and your brother like to go to car lots just to haggle with people, because you guys are good at, finagling what you want and what you need.
Jimmy Cheapy Pants requested I bring in the Shark. We'll see.
I think we should.
He's a tough one to get.
He is a tough one to get. And I don't know how well it would come across on the radio. He's a little, I don't know. He doesn't talk like you talk.
He doesn't talk like I talk, which is probably a compliment to him.
It's like that uncomfortable silentness that just makes him get good offers, I guess.
Speaking of Jimmy Cheapy Pants, have you talked to your father-in-law lately?
Yes.
My dad might have said something to try to stir the pot, I'm just gonna say it had nothing to do with me whatsoever.
Jeez.
He was claiming an original Jimmy Cheapy Pants that gets talked about on the podcast a lot, and I said, what do you do at that point?
My father-in-law is not Jimmy Cheapy Pants. That is not true. He does not fit any of the... well, maybe. But Jimmy Cheapy Pants is another friend who has had his second eBay sell in the last week.
Yeah, he's doing good. So this friend, okay, so he has these 3 Jordans. Sorry, I took you off track there. So
you always do.
He's going to get them graded with you. And what else does he got?
Well, that's what I told him. I'm like, what else you got? And he says, well, I got some other stuff. I said, well, when are we coming to Fillmore to come check it out? Because
road trip.
We like to drive.
Well, that sounds like these people and the stuff that they had. That's what I'm telling you. There's these little stores that people had open for the kids to keep them busy.
Just like the Legend, we didn't know that. He had a card store.
The Legend, that was another. You're confusing people.
Well,
the Legend is still with us.
No, I know, but the Legend, but your friend who passed had a
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So that might have been the thing to do, and that's what I'm saying. There's all these places around the country, whether it was cards, G.I. Joes, collectible things to resell, that people want their kids to get entrepreneurial spirit, to earn some money. Like you have your kids do little jobs. I was going to compliment you on how straight those lines are now. I can see them out in that parking lot. Almost killed you, but that was good.
That was me. I painted my own parking lots in my own parking lot because I couldn't wait any longer.
But you have your kids sometimes take money, have people park. I'm thinking some of these people had their kids just run stores just to teach them how it happens. So
for sure,
there's places all around this country that Derek needs to get into where people have this kind of thing. And I mean, obviously they're not going to sell me the Jordan for $150, but maybe I can get it cheaper than what they're going for.
$65.
I mean, twist my arm. I'll write a check now or Venmo you. What do you prefer?
Write a check.
I got a checkbook. I'm not afraid to use it.
Clean, cold cash is how I like to deal. Remember we've talked about this Venmo thing. I mean, how long do I have to tell it to you? Cash is king.
I'll take the Venmo.
I guess I know.
It's instant.
That's true, but so is cash.
Yeah, but have you ever seen a forged Venmo transaction?
I don't know.
I had some guy try and give me a $50 bill at the yard sale earlier this year that was
you did say that.
It was crooked as a fence.
You did say that. So no, that's kind of you brought it up, and it was definitely interesting. Man, we got some good tax stuff coming. I mean, right now it's still refund season. People who are filing taxes get refunds. So here's the rule, people: if you file in February or March, you're guaranteed to get a refund. Because if you owe money, nobody files in March to get all excited to pay their money to the IRS.
Yeah, it's always something. I've actually been down in the basement crunching the mileage, trying to figure out. I go through GoDaddy and then I try to backtrack to where I went and get mileage going, which I should be doing as I go. I understand this, but man, it's just crazy. And the people at work that have several kids and don't have businesses and things, they can't file fast enough to get that money going.
They get that money. They're not diversified like you. Like you've got more than one iron in the fire. You got several things.
You gotta have a few pokers out there, Adam. But let's talk real fast about. I mean, we do touch on it, but everyone wants to know deductions. Kind of just give them the basic rundown. They've just started this year selling. They don't know what to do. They can go listen to the archives if they want in detail, but. What are some of your basic deductions and things you need to be paying attention to?
The quick and dirty, the easy things is, like you said, mileage is always number one. See how much you drove. The other one, it's really interesting. When you get these 1099Ks, we brought it up. A lot of times fees are not included or they're excluded. It might say 50,000, but you only got 43,000. It's because there's $7,000 in fees, and you need to go off of what's on the K1. That's what's reported to the IRS. So you want to make sure that you know exactly how much you're paying in fees. And I know people call it fee-bay or Amazon takes all these things, but you can't get to an audience that's that big. You also want to look at your processing fees. Those are your biggest expenses, okay? The other ones, like I said, meals and entertainment. We just brought it up. I mean, that's the whole benefit of doing this is you get to write off stuff that you don't get to do if you're just a W-2 employee.
So what constitutes a meal? I'm going out, I'm going to go up to Savers, I'm going to swing by Venue Sports Cards, visit Phil, I stop and grab something to eat. Where's the line on that kind of thing?
Is it ordinary and is it necessary? That's really what it is. If you have an online business, if you're selling things and you make money, it's expected that you can eat, okay? And I always look at it, I try to do more of a percentage, because everybody say, well, I eat out all the time, or I never eat out. I usually try and, like I said, have a percentage of like what your sales are and say, it would be realistic to say that you could legitimately spend $100 or $400 a month on meals eating out, whether you made, $10,000 or $150,000. That's kind of what I say, but just like you're saying, is it ordinary, is it necessary, and was it business purposes?
And say we end up in, let's just say Phoenix, I don't know. Maybe we're going to watch our boy Pelly do some softball umping, and we decide to go catch a Coyotes game, or maybe the Cardinals are in town, or we just get a group of guys together and go watch a movie. Where's the entertainment purpose on this kind of thing, or how's that work?
Like I said, if you're making money, then that's part of the tax purpose. And we've just talked with Mr. Boogers about ticket stubs, same thing. Signed autograph, jerseys. Like I said, if you are making money, you can write that off, okay? But if you think that, I sold $500 worth of stuff on eBay, but I'm going to write off $5,000 of expenses to go visit all my no, that's just not going to happen. It has to be realistic in order for you to actually be able to write it off.
Maybe Willie Nelson was in town and you're there and you went out to have a good dinner, went and saw Willie. Who knows?
Hey, get some Willie, get your Colorado brownie, whatever you got to do to be in the mood.
Well, that's good information, Adam. I know you're a king of Colorado brownies.
That's right.
Special recipes that you can't get anywhere else from what you tell me.
No. There's, like I said, but keeping track of it, and like I said, and being understanding, realistic, that if you were to look at this, it's not a hobby, okay? It's a business. That's what you're treating that, because you can't, it has to be realistic. You can't get the expectation, because that's what a lot of people do. They say, I lost all this money. No, you didn't. There also are other requirements that you're supposed to be maternally participating. That just means that you spent enough time on it to be a real business that you can take a loss. But don't take a loss. That's not the whole reason. People are always like, I'm going to start a business so I can lose money. No.
That makes no sense.
Makes no sense. If that's what you want to do, you can send it here to Adam Upper County, 78 East, 100 South, Basin, Utah, and we will take care of that for you.
I'll go buy lottery tickets and we'll split it if we ever win, but you're funding it.
That's right. You're going to take care of it.
No, I mean, the thing is, like I was saying, you get you a good accountant, whether it's him or somebody else that understands what you're doing. You want to be able to track it down. I use GoDaddy. He has QuickBooks. Or you just have a pen and paper, right?
Or Google Sheets. Like I said, keep track of it somewhere.
The thing that amazes me every year is mileage.
Yeah.
It's right now, I think it's 57.5 cents a mile.
Something stupid.
Think about that. You're going around for a yard sale, you go 10 miles, or you drive to the thrift store and back, or you have to go drop off your mailer bag.
$5 right there.
It adds up.
Fast.
So you might be thinking, well, I don't have anything to deduct or whatever. You're using a computer, most likely you're using your cell phone, you're using the internet, you're driving around. It is maybe, you're not making $100,000 a year, but you're still doing the work. Or you're out searching for these tickets, right? You're using the internet, you're on Boogers group, you're doing the research. There's ways to do it. Get you a good tax man. You want a good attorney, a good mechanic, and a good tax man in life. There's words of wisdom right there from D-Roy.
Those are excellent things. I do my mechanic. I do his taxes. It's a great relationship. Probably the best one I have out of all of my clients. I love my clients, but my mechanic, Bry, he's awesome here. Payson Auto, shout out to him. He's amazing. I don't even have to ask. Like, I know when you come in and I do your taxes, it's not like you're like, well, what do you mean that's what it's going to be? Like, we just have an established relationship. You know what it is. He'll try and explain everything to me. I'm like, Bry, I don't care. Just make it run.
And I got a mechanic who has a forklift out in a field out in the southwest here, and he specializes in Priuses, so I found my man.
Well, speaking of that, I didn't want to bring it up, but man, I have got this car sitting at house number 2 that has just collected dust.
Hey, I got a few people that were interested. Maybe tomorrow I can get rid of it. We got tax money coming in, so it's a clean one owner. Well, it's been a few owners, and it's got some things, but no check engine light. I just put a new coil. I put a Cadillac converter, spark plugs. She's ready for a new home.
She is
her forever home.
And
so
ready to go. So if you're in need of a hot Prius,
it's probably gone by the time you hear this.
It probably. I hope it is, because it's sitting in the driveway at house number 2.
It's making the house number 2 more secure. People are like, oh, somebody's there.
It's true. I do like.
I should be charging you for this.
You weasel, like you just backwards way you're into it that I'm storing your car, but you're charging me for it.
Hey man, we got an awesome interview coming up. But eBay sales, man, they have been hot.
Red hot. I've been hot too, man.
I can't believe it. Every day I'm waiting for it to slow down, but I mean it's consistent. And for those of you that don't know or aren't doing the ticket thing, PSA, who we talked about grading and stuff, just raised their prices. Apparently they have over 10 million cards at them right now on waiting to be graded.
Shut up.
So they just doubled their prices.
Times 10.
And
minimum to 15.
It's crazy. So
it's like $150 million of revenue.
Just sitting there. That's just
Wow.
sitting waiting to get graded. I got a box together and sent it off right before the deadline. There was rumors that prices were going up. But, I mean, graded cards right now, Adam was just showing me, there's cards that you can pick up on eBay or Mercari right now that cost less than it costed the people to grade them, or would cost less than currently. So that's my bolo of the week is look into that of picking up already graded cards. They're probably not going to be 10s, but if you can get something in the 8 to 9 realm, some rookie cards or something like that.
What do you mean by 8 to 9? Well, I'm not sure what you're saying.
Oh, when you're talking about your grade subject, right? So we're on a scale from 1 to 10. I meant to bring this up in the interview. With tickets, it's weird. I don't think the grade really matters as much as the population. With cards, of course, a 10 Jerry Rice rookie is going to be, tens of thousands of dollars. But if you can get an 8 or a 9 Jerry Rice rookie for a few $100s, with the demand that's coming in and the prices going up, I think you could flip that for a very fair price here in a matter of months.
Yeah, there's so many ways to make money. That's what the whole concept of this is. I wasn't doing much of it. Like I said, it all started with thrift stuff because it's really fun. It's part of that treasure hunt, and I can't wait to go back to do it again. Right now, it's still very difficult.
Well, and that's really a new trend. These they're not millennials. It's like the generation after that. They're really thrift heavy, and they're specializing stores. We've talked about thrift hood a little bit, but this is like a trend where they're going to thrift stores. They're buying this vintage clothing, stuff you wore in the 90s or went to school in the 80s, and they're reselling it at like boutique stores for above eBay prices. So
yeah.
It's hot right now if you're in clothing. I know a lot of people don't like listing it, all the details and stuff you have to put in. We always say go to our friends over at Sellhound and list it fast. Or with your cards, man. It's just, there's a lot of opportunity right now. It's unlike we've seen with e-commerce. Like, just pick something and figure out what you like. You're probably going to find a way to make some pretty good money at it. I'm
going to throw this out there because, like I said, we kind of, we get into things. I'm not sure if you noticed my newly graded card that's over there. Did you see it last week?
No.
Next to the Zion Williamson. Can you tell from there who it is?
Now you're going to have to get my spectacles out.
You have to get up and check that one out.
Oh, that's Merle Haggard.
That is Merle Haggard.
That's the Hag. We pledge allegiance to the Hag.
That's right. I've been getting into country music star cards.
See, that's you never know. Like,
oh no, I know.
Adam's sitting on a small fortune because he has the Hag.
I've got a couple nice Willie Nelson cards over there. I just feel like it's going to explode. All these things, if you listen to the podcast from the very beginning, we talked about the Michael Jordans before Michael Jordan got hot. We talked about Tiger Woods before it got hot, and who knows what's going to happen now that he had this pretty bad accident this last week.
I don't know if Tiger will ever golf again. Who knows?
I don't know if he's. Oh man, I just thought of something.
You want to share it with our listeners?
What about Tiger Woods tickets for golfing events that he's been in?
Do they give out tickets for Augusta?
They do. I went to when I went. I saw Tiger Woods play in the PGA Championship in Tulsa.
You got your tickets still?
Oh, you dang skippy! I did.
You better get that graded.
He won his 13th major at that event.
So you got a Tiger Woods ticket from a major that he won?
I do.
You need to get that in the backlog of the 10 million cards.
Way to go, man. Way to go, me.
The good thing about cards, and we were talking with Boogers coming up with Patrick, the founder of Boogers. We've talked about them before on the podcast, but the good thing about cards is the population, it is a little more niche. So if you do send in your tickets to get them graded, they kind of go in a faster lane, and you get them back faster.
Yeah, they don't take quite as long. So, man, now I want to look up these Tiger Woods tickets. Nobody look for Tiger Woods tickets. Let me do it first.
Adam, this doesn't get posted for you got like a 4-day window here to hit it really hard.
If you're thinking about posting some Tiger Woods tickets, just send me an email, send me a message, adamupaccounting.com. I will pay you good price. We can,
We know a guy that has 3 Michael Jordan rookie cards. Maybe we can work something out. One has a crease in it. I'm willing to give you $100 cash money, no questions asked. I'll Venmo. Adam will send you cash, or I'll write you a check. Either way, we can make it work. But
yes, there's some good things going. Man, that just happened on the fly.
Well, here's the thing. Like regardless of what you're into, like Adam just said right there, there's a niche. I mean, there's collectible DVDs. There's just so many avenues that you can go down. So if you got an interest at all, a scratch in the world, you can probably, right now is the time to get into it.
Timestamp this. This is like March 2nd, 2021. You are going to see the day when these Tiger Wood tickets go insane.
It's going to be his next crazy rollover that he may or may not survive. I mean, Tiger's had some scandals.
I did have, one of the favorite things is back in the, I don't know, I had a cousin when they would do these, like Halloween parties. Her and her husband dressed up as Tiger Woods and his first wife, and he brought a golf club. She brought a golf club, kind of insinuating some
chase him around the whole night.
It was pretty. At the time, it was pretty enjoyable.
Pretty timely. It was kind of a Michael Scott Halloween costume.
But now it probably would have gotten cancel culture, just like Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss was canceled. That was his own company.
No, you didn't hear it today?
No, I heard it. Dr. Seuss's company's the ones that decide to not do that.
Yes, they're canceling Dr. Seuss's books.
Well, no, it's Dr. Seuss's company.
Yeah, they're canceling books.
They made the decision themselves.
Well, I understand.
They're not publishing books.
But that's what I'm saying.
They get canceled. They're deciding themselves. You're thinking of Yeti coolers.
No, they're canceling themselves.
You're thinking of Keurig and Yeti coolers.
No, I'm thinking about the 6 Dr. Seuss books that are no longer able to be...
that they're not publishing anymore.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Seuss's people decided they weren't going to do it.
I don't know where you're trying to go with this. I'm just saying, if you
I'm saying it's not
Dr.
people.
Seuss stuff...
I'm saying people didn't make them cancel. I'm saying that the Dr. Seuss company decided they weren't going to do it anymore.
I'm guessing there's people inside of the company that says, we can't do this anymore.
Well, that's who made the decision.
Well, I know. They're canceling themselves.
Okay. Well, that's not cancel culture then. Culture didn't tell them to cancel. They decided to cancel it themselves.
Man, you're going down this hard rabbit hole, aren't you? I'm guessing that there's some real push inside of the company.
Yeah, because the company made the decision to not do it.
Because they had to. Because
of who?
Man, where are we going with this?
You're thinking Yeti coolers and Keurig.
I'm not thinking Yeti coolers or Keurig. Isn't that like the little, coffee pot thing?
We're going down a rabbit hole, Adam. Dr. Seuss books are hot.
All I'm saying is if you've got some Dr. Seuss books, and there's certain ones, they're going for $200, $300, $400 on the interwebs right now. So regardless of why they're hot,
get to your thrift stores.
We don't talk. Well, that's what we don't ask. Like I said, I don't care why people are paying absorbent amount for things. I just hope they buy it for me.
Don't ask, don't tell.
That used to be not anymore though. So, Leroy, what do you got hot this week? I know you've been talking about cards. I know you've been doing this, but what's your advice? What are you going to tell people to do this week so that we get some more action?
List your stuff. I mean, we say it all the time. If you don't sell things, your store's not going, you're probably not listing. So you got a death pile. That's why you're listening to Death Piles and Taxes, or you're getting back into it, or you're trying to get your cards going. Just start listing stuff, and it'll go. I mean, that's the secret sauce right there.
We always say, Granny always said, you can't sell out of an empty wagon. That means if you don't have stuff in your store, you can't sell. The crazy part is, like, I have hardly anything in my store just because I don't have that many items, because I really have gotten into the graded stuff. But even, I'll get, 13, 14, 16 or whatever, and I'll sell stuff.
And look for offers. I mean, sending offers, we always talk about as being, you get that opportunity. See what you can send out. If you send offers, my success rate on sending offers has been pretty good as well. So, I mean, you just got to be active in your store, be active, listing things, watching things, taking offers, making offers. You can't just, I say list it and forget it, but you can't really set it and forget it. You have to be kind of active and pay attention to what's going on. When you ship your stuff, do it
quick,
package it like you want to receive it, all the basics.
Yeah, it's like I said, if you want to sell money online, there's plenty of ways to do it. There's plenty of different items to do it.
I'm surprised you didn't go potato head on me. That's where I thought you were going.
No, I wasn't going that far with it. But that
was 2 days ago.
They changed their mind real fast. That was just a quick fad. Which, I'll go to I watched a really interesting documentary type thing. There's a guy on YouTube called Company Man. If you haven't seen it, it's intriguing.
Type thing. That's what's got me worried right now.
No, so he talked the very specifics about Beanie Babies. And Beanie Babies were the ultimate short run, drive up.
That was what started eBay. I mean, that's what brought eBay to the table.
Yeah, so this guy, he spends.
Your NFTs got me thinking a lot about Beanie Babies with some of this stuff.
Yeah, so he like I said, the Company Man, he talks about all these different, how Kmart went bankrupt and how big, Procter & Gamble is and all of these different, how Little Caesar is really, really cool, really interesting. My 10-year-old kid is like, it's right up his alley. I mean, if I had the same thing, I would spend hours and hours and hours listening to it whenever, I had the free chance to do it. But it talked about Beanie Babies and how he created the demand, because he had this ultimate blue-colored peanut, which was an elephant, and they decided to change color, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, the first one is so valuable because there's such a small run of it. And that's continually what he did, is he pushed up the value. Homeboy was it worth, I think, $6 billion at some point, selling Beanie Babies. Now they're...
I hope he saved them. I hope he saved that money.
I hope he saved it too, but that was kind of, like you're saying, that's kind of how eBay really kind of got started, but it was scarcity. They would say something's going to happen, they would cancel it, and then they'd bring it back, kind of like, all of these...
I'm hoping you can say the same thing about Derek Everitt and wrestling cards here in about 3 years. It's like, homeboy was worth several million off wrestling cards, and then he disappeared. We think he's in an island somewhere. No one knows for sure. He's just done.
I hope that is the case, because it's just intriguing what people will spend money on, and a lot of it's like nostalgia, or for some reason, I don't know why they want it, but I don't really care. I want to sell it to them.
Don't know why they do what they do. We're just glad that they do. And one of the things we're getting into is tickets, Adam. We got our boy Patrick over there at Boogers ready to go.
Yeah, check it out. Good interview. We appreciate it. Have a great week. We appreciate all the new listeners. Like I said, D-Roy, I don't know what you're doing with the funky machine, but we are getting new listeners every single week. Help us out, guys. Go on there, do a review for us. Like I said, it increases our algorithm. We want more people to hear what D-Roy's dishing.
I mean, you give us the go over to Apple. That's the big one. I know everyone's on Apple, but somebody that is, still their phone. Give us 5 stars and a review. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, it's taxes of Deathpiles and taxes. It is that time of year. We're going to have to do something. Uncle Sam wants his money.
Who doesn't want their money?
Well, he's got a lot of it, but we all got to put it in the system. That's the country we live in. So, need to file your taxes. Got questions? You want to know more because you're a reseller? It is a little more difficult than it is, especially if it's your first year. You're getting into it. You're going to get these 1099Ks. You can get information that you don't know what to do with, and we don't want you to pay any more than you have to. So, reach out to us here at Adam Up Accounting. You can go to our website. You can check us out on social media. We'd love to help you out. Like I said, we know the resale game. We're here to make sure that you pay your fair share, but don't go back to jail.
Adam, our friends over at Sellhound have outdone themselves. They're giving the Deathpiles and Taxes listeners an opportunity of a lifetime.
They're going to help us make some money, get rid of that death pile, get your items listed because you can't sell out of an empty wagon.
Man, sell all that you got, kill that death pile. When you go over to sell Hound, use promo code, capital letters, Deathpiles25 to save 25% off of their service.
And get out there and start making some money. All right, everybody. Death Piles and Taxes. I know you've all been waiting. We've got a special guest, don't we, D-Roy?
We do. We got a one of a kind, an original, and lucky to have scored him. We got Patrick Powell with us. Adam, who is Patrick Powell?
He's got something called Boogers. It's intrigued me for years that I've known about it. So, Patrick, thanks to the podcast. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, man?
Hey, hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I started Boogers Ticket Stubs Facebook group after the passing of my father about 5 years ago. And he was a former Air Force vet. His nickname was Booger, which was actually from the character from Revenge of the Nerds movie. So he carried that his whole life. There's people even in his job that didn't even know his real name.
There goes question number one. I think everyone's number one question is, why is it called Boogers when you're dealing with tickets? So check that one off the list.
Yep. I basically I'm in so many different Facebook groups, and between collecting autographs and cards and all kinds of things, tickets was something I saw pop up, and I would collect tickets every now and then, but I just didn't see a group out there, so I wanted to start something.
So how long's the group been going? Did you say about 5 years?
Maybe a little less than that. Maybe about 3 or 4 or so. Yeah.
So this is the coolest thing. Like I said, if you don't know what we're talking about, like I said, we've been talking about this for a long time. Derek kind of stumbled across this Facebook group, and it's collecting vintage tickets or any kind of tickets. And it's that, like, your group has got some really cool stuff. You've kind of got some guys, and they kind of trade with each other and all sell. Is that right?
Yeah, there's all kinds of collectors in there. I mean, normally people, when they think of ticket collecting, they think of vintage, and they're thinking about Mickey Mantle years and things like that. But vintage nowadays, with most people going to digital e-tickets, you're looking at tickets from the 90s and 2000s are still technically vintage. It's getting harder for anyone to collect tickets nowadays because of all the electronic stuff.
Now, just kind of looking at your tickets, you have got some pretty sweet stuff, man. So how did you get started in this? It sounds like you started with your dad, maybe granddad. Like, how did you get into the ticket game?
It kind of started because when I was collecting autographed baseballs, I was really into milestones. And so, and that's typical for most collectors. They want to collect, maybe they'll get a ball signed by a Hall of Famer, and they'll put, if they were a 3,000 hit winner or hitter, or if they were a 500 home run hitter, that's typically your most popular inscription. So I always wanted something on top of that. So I would look for maybe home run tickets of that player, or if it's a more current player, it's obviously cheaper to get a debut ticket. Someone like Mike Trout, their debut ticket has skyrocketed over the years. I have his first hit ticket, which is doing pretty well. It's much harder, of course, to get a lot of Hall of Famers debut tickets like Mickey Mantle and things like that. But they are scarce and they're out there. And when you find them, you'll see them at auction sites everywhere.
So with that, I was going to ask you about the digital ticketing platform coming out. Do you think that's something that's going to be sustainable with COVID and everything, or do you think the diehards that want the hard ticket are still going to be able to find that going forward?
Yeah, it's kind of it's a sad thing. I mean, people in my group are posting all the time that they're season ticket holders and their team is telling them there's no physical tickets coming up anymore. But I will say there's some promise here and there. Some teams are offering season ticket holders the ability to get physical tickets just to pay extra for that. So I think some teams will still have tickets you can pick up at the box office and that may be the only way you get a physical ticket going forward. Which is interesting because recently PSA just announced that they would start slabbing and grading Ticketmaster tickets, which they wouldn't do before, just because of the possibility of forgery. But I think now they're realizing that a lot of those tickets are becoming harder to find. There's people who collect event tickets like WrestleMania, and those were like Ticketmaster tickets, so they're wanting to get those slabbed. So PSA's now opened that up to them.
You're speaking my language there. I'm in the hunt for a WrestleMania 3 ticket, but that one's pretty hard to come by. So that's
oh yeah,
that's right up my alley. With PSA, we talk a lot about grading cards on the show as well. We've gotten to tickets. Do you resell it all, or are you just mainly a collector?
I do a bit of both. I mean, sometimes I'll collect something for a while and then I'll end up selling it a few years later. I mean, I have a little one right now who's going on 3 years old, and she's a handful. So when she came into the world, a lot of my collecting has kind of scaled back, and I got a second one on the way later this year. So I'm just really picky now on what I want to purchase and keep.
Well, congratulations, man. That fatherhood, it changes your life, and you get a little different perspective. I've gotten back into the card game with my kids, so they're almost 11 and 8, and it's fun because they enjoy the hunt. So I'm sure it'll get to that point with you too.
Oh yeah, I look forward to that. I mean, that's what happened with my dad. He used to collect a little bit back when he was young. He used to tell me stories about putting Mickey Mantle cards in the bicycle spokes and all those stories you hear. But when I started collecting cards in the 90s, early 90s, it kind of got him back into it. And so we would get cards every now and then. We were living in England in the 90s, so it was hard to find cards, but there would be a show that would pop up on the military bases, and we'd go check out some stuff. And he was a part of Desert Storm, so he did get some of those Topps Desert Storm cards back in the day and saved a few of them. And
yeah, those are good ones.
Yeah, those are rough to find. He used to tell me stories about how people would use them for kindling out there. So that's why they're so rare.
Burning hundreds of dollars. Now I can tell, Patrick, you're being modest because I'm looking at some of your cards. You've got some pretty cool stuff, man. What would you say is your like top 3? If you said you only get to keep 3 things for your personal collection, what 3 items would that be?
Well, I'm not even sure what pictures you're looking at because people are posting stuff all the time, and even the group photo is not my tickets necessarily. But one of the cool ones I have is Bill Mazeroski Game 7 walk-off home run ticket.
1960 Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yep, I got him to sign it and put the inscription on there, and that was pretty cool.
Wow. I didn't even look that up. That's how nerdy baseball. I used to be probably a lot like I knew every guy when he got to 500, when he got to 3,000. So that's an awesome ticket, man.
No, I was just going to say it's one of those that a lot of people want, and even in rough shape, it can be kind of pricey, but I knew once I could get a hold of one, the Maz doesn't cost that much for a signature, so I had to get it sent off.
Yeah, you got to do it right. A lot of our listeners might not be into, I mean, they're just probably starting to get into cards from a lot of the feedback we're getting. With tickets, do you think they're undervalued as a market in general? And then secondly, if somebody's trying to start, I mean, where do you recommend, you got the group over there on Facebook, Boogers, that we'll put the link and everything too, but how do you get started in tickets?
Well, the great thing about ticket collecting is it's very niche. I mean, when you think of card collecting or autographs, people talk about players, teams, maybe they want milestones they're collecting. Tickets are similar, but they even go more granular. There's people who collect tickets just because it was a sporting event that happened on their birthday or when their kid was born or when they got married or something. I've seen that. Some people like to collect tickets just because they have a picture of their favorite player on there. So that's really granular niche type collecting. Most popular is all milestones and debut tickets, obviously. Some people go even deeper, which I used to do, is you pick some players that you really like and try to collect maybe every single hit or every single home run they've hit. There's a guy in our group who's almost got every hit that P. Rose ever hit, a ticket from every one of those games. There's another guy who collects Dave Winfield homers, and he's got a ton of those. There's one guy who's got almost every game that Michael Jordan's played, and he's been featured in an article in a magazine. It's just, there's another guy too. He's working on a book. He's going to publish pictures and stories about his entire Albert Pujols home run ticket collection once he retires after this coming season. So it's really great to see so many different ways you can do it. You could pick a player and just stick with them, but I mean, it's really up to you. There's just such a wide variety. I mean, there's great people in my group that can give great knowledge and on how to display tickets, what to collect, pricing. And to kind of go back to your other question about are tickets undervalued, it's really hard to say because it's such a niche collection of an item that it's hard to say what someone will value it at. Obviously, a lot of the vintage stuff can be pricey because everyone values that. But when you talk about more recent items, like maybe a Bryce Harper debut ticket might be worth more to someone than others, and his career is kind of up and down, and you're just kind of like, well, do I really want to invest in that or not? But then you have someone like Mike Trout, who it's now almost not affordable to buy his debut ticket at this point. So you really have so many different avenues to go, and that's what's great about it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as finding prices or that kind of thing besides your group, how's a smart way to evaluate, what, I know it's just kind of up in the air, and like you said, it's very niche, but say, somebody's getting into this and they're trying to put a price on the ticket, they just got back from PSA. Are grades that important with tickets, or how would you evaluate cost to some extent of what you want to resell a ticket for?
Yeah, it's always tough, and it's definitely a popular question that comes up. PSA is really the only one that's grading and slabbing tickets at the moment, and you're not going to usually get anything unless maybe they run a deal for $15, $20, $25 per ticket that you're going to send off. So when you're thinking about that pricing, trying to figure that into when you resell, it can be difficult because if it's a ticket that's not even worth that, then you're spending more basically to get it slabbed or graded and then hold on to it in hopes of, if it's a debut ticket, that player does well in the future. Someone like Mookie Betts, his debut ticket is starting to go up over the past year, whereas before it was like a $10, $20 ticket. But yeah, it can be tough to really decide, and people always post in the group asking, what is this worth? How much would someone pay? And that's really what it is. It's kind of trying to find the right buyer for that player, that milestone, or that team.
So what gets you more excited? Like if you're like, I sold this ticket for, X amount, $100, $300, or when you find a ticket you're looking for?
I think the hunt is always the best. I was at some antique show, and it was an indoor thing, and I wasn't expecting to find any sports-related items or tickets anywhere, and I stumbled across a guy who had some album full of pictures and stuff, and in there was like a Mickey Mantle home run ticket for $20. And it wasn't like a great home run ticket, but it was just cool to see that in the wild, like to actually just find it sitting somewhere. And I always dream about how there's people in various cities, but I usually think about New York and back in the heyday of when baseball was just so huge up there, and all these people who probably have game tickets just sitting in their attics or their photo albums from games they attended that are just sitting there and being passed down. And for those to come out and see the light will just be great.
Yeah, you brought up Pete Rose earlier. I was telling my dad about this group. I got some Jerry Sloan stuff, and I had some NBA Finals tickets I sent off to get graded from back when the Bulls and the Jazz were playing. My dad just couldn't wrap his head around it for a little bit. He's like, tickets. Then I almost saw a light bulb go off in his head. And he runs to a journal that he had, and he was back in New York in the 70s, and he pulls out a ticket of a Pete Rose. It was his 39th game hit, but it was also Johnny Bench's number 300 home run against the Mets. And he saved it all these years, and then we sent it off and got it slabbed. But it was kind of cool to see that, like you talked about with your dad, to see my dad have that same kind of like, what are you talking about? Then, oh, hold on, look what I got,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've seen too. Other people say, I'm looking for this game where I went to my dad back in the 70s or 80s, and we didn't keep our ticket, or I can't find it. And so they're hoping to find someone who has it. I have a couple of tickets for back in the mid 90s when we were coming back to visit family from England. I'm from Indiana originally. So we were in Indiana visiting family, and we popped up to see a Cubs day game and a White Sox night game in the same day. And it was just great as a kid. So I kept those tickets. I found those after my dad passed, and it was great to have.
Yeah, do you think about like concert tickets or movie tickets or anything like that, or are you just pretty much focused on sports?
Yeah, I mean, I started the group mainly because I saw a huge need for people to talk about and collect sports tickets, but I have seen people come in who collect concert tickets, and it's kind of more on the rare side that I see anyone collecting those, but it does happen, and it always depends on the band or the artist. Obviously some things like Woodstock tickets are interesting. And when I saw people asking about them, I went out and actually watched the documentary to kind of get more background, because I wasn't sure like what the tickets look like and who performed. And so I was looking that up, and there's like a 3-day ticket and all these different things. So it was really interesting just to learn the background about the tickets I would see on eBay related to that concert and why it was so huge. But most people didn't keep those tickets. They're out in the mud.
We don't know where they ended up. So no, it's funny. I mean, D-Roy, he's right over it. He's got some Woodstock tickets. He's in that WrestleMania stuff. So I think a lot of us kind of are on that same trend. So what's your team? Like, what? I know you said you're kind of in the Maryland area. Are you Orioles guy? Are you a Senators guy back to the original, or who's your team?
Well, growing up, because I was military brat moving around, you could see the Braves on TBS no matter where you moved. So I was a Braves fan growing up. 90s Braves team with Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox and Chipper Jones and all them. We ended up moving from England to Georgia, so then I stayed a Braves fan for a while. But I've been up in the D.C. area for the past 8 years now, and now I'm a converted Nats fan. So I was really excited to actually have a team that I rooted for win the World Series.
Yeah, Soto is way hot right now across the board, so that's a good guy to pick, or good team.
Yeah, and speaking of him, related to tickets, his debut ticket is one of the hardest to find because the Nats pretty much stopped doing season tickets a while back. So the only one you're going to find out there is like a box office ticket you would get if you walked up to the booth. So when you see one show up on eBay, it's usually a few $100 because it's just so hard to find.
So like we're kind of heavy into the cards, where we do a lot on just regular eBay, just random stuff we find for thrift stores. And I mean, COVID really kind of pushed us more towards the sports theme just because it was easier to get and tickets. But Derek, tell them what you did with your Juan Soto card so you can kind of know a little bit what you're doing with cards.
Well, I had a Juan Soto card that got mislabeled at PSA apparently, but it was Topps. It was Topps rookie, but it was the update series. They marked it as a refractor, and it turns out it wasn't. But I put it up for sale before I knew that it wasn't, and I had me a bid war that you wouldn't believe. Turns out I still sold it for a good profit, and I mean, cards right now are just going crazy, right? So that's why we're kind of thinking about tickets. I'm thinking they're undervalued a bit. They are definitely niche, but I think it's one of those things that we talk about, like the Jazz finals around here. There was only 19,000 tickets printed, and of those, how many survived? So if somebody's trying to get all the Jordan tickets, or like you're saying with the Soto, I mean, there's just such a limited amount. I'm thinking the market value is really just. I think it's a bubble that's about ready to burst, personally, but. Now, there's some cool things out there, and if you can pair the card with the ticket, rookie card with the debut ticket, I just think there's a lot of places for this hobby to go.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just recently sold an Acuna debut for $100, and I probably undervalued it, but I still have a first homer ticket, and the Braves stopped doing season tickets recently as well. So luckily, he had a debut ticket, although he was in Cincinnati, I believe, for his debut, and his first homer. So they were still doing tickets. I think they might still be. But, yeah, it's just getting harder, I'm telling you. And there's more new stars coming up, Tatis and everybody that, want to collect them. But from a ticket side, it just gets really hard. So what I really see is that everybody's switching more to vintage. You learn the history of the game. You learn more about Hall of Famers. Then you'll change your collection style up, and you'll want to go back and get that kind of stuff. And those tickets are, always going to be valuable and hard to find.
Yeah, even with that, there's got to be. I have this picture in my head that there's a magical store somewhere in the Midwest. It's kind of like a thrift or antique store that they don't know what they have, and there's like a treasure case somewhere that's full of like, early Flair basketball with Michael Jordan rookie cards in it. Then they got the old baseball cards out underneath the cellar that no one's looked at since, the 1950s. And then they just happen to have their personal journal with all these tickets. And that's my dream, is to find this place when they're ready to retire and just ready to sell off stuff. But maybe that's just me and my fantasies. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I dream about that all the time. Like I was saying earlier, I still imagine that there's so many people who have stuff in their attic. They just... And what amazes me is there's all these TV shows now about people finding stuff in their attic that's worth so much money. I'm surprised not everyone's just ransacking their attics or going to their grandparents and saying, "Hey, what do you got in there?" Because Antique Roadshow said this is worth this. You know what I mean? So I believe you too, and I'm with you, because I think there's tons of tickets and cards just sitting in attics out there that are, you hear stories popping up about tobacco cards coming out the woodwork. So it's fun to see, but man, going to auction, just going nuts.
There you go, listeners. That's Patrick, not just us now. It's another person. We talk about this all the time. I mean, we keep getting listeners all the time, and if you go out and do it and go see your grandparents, and, it's not necessarily to, it's go bond with them. I mean, now you get to talk about things that I wish I would have done more with my grandpa, because he was in the service in the 40s, and he loved the Giants and all of these things. And I think it just, like you said, it creates that nostalgic relationship, but you can remember things being at a ball game in 1989.
Well, and that's one of the things too. Like, you travel around, like you're saying, you're kind of a military brat, but the one thing that you do is when you go to a new city, at least a lot of us do, is you go and you check out a local game, regardless if you're a fan or not. And a lot of us just keep that ticket for almost like a free souvenir, or you go to concerts or whatever, and you just kind of put them out on the mantle or in a journal or out in your cigar box or whatever. I have to think that up in some attics, there's a lot of grandpas that, they saw Babe Ruth bat and they kept the ticket, or they went and they saw, Hank Aaron or whoever, and they just put the ticket away, and, they don't know there's a value associated with it, and maybe the memory's worth more than the value, but there's just got to be a treasure trove out there somewhere, and I need to find it. That's the point of my story, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm always finding different things that make me want to get a certain ticket. Like, for instance, one thing I got from my dad when he passed was it's a black and white photo of Johnny Sane and Warren Spahn, and it has this inscription, the saying of, it's going for me now. Spahn and Sane pray for rain. So when Spahn and Sane were pitching, you knew you wanted it to rain so they could cancel the game. So a ticket I found was supposedly after the game where a reporter reportedly came up with that phrase. So I thought that was just so cool to have.
Yeah, that would be cool. And then, like I said, that's the crazy thing with technology now. Like, you can look up every single game, and see exactly what, August 17th, 1974, Pete Rose hit number 3,317. So, I don't know, it's really cool now, because as a kid, I think you're kind of the same way. I only had, a couple books, and that's how I learned everything. But now you're seconds away from being verified, saying you're not making it up.
Yeah, exactly. And all that information becomes vital, because there's some, I'll give you some good tips for when you're searching for tickets. I mean, you could go on eBay and say, I want maybe Mickey Mantle's 500th home run or something, and you search that. You might find some, you might get some hits. But even more important is there's people out there who don't even know what they have, and they'll post tickets online. You could just search for the date or maybe the team for that year, and you might come up with someone's got maybe a group of Yankee tickets from the 60s or something, and they didn't look up the dates. And you never know, there could be some Mantle homers in there could be something worth a lot of money, or it could just be what you're looking for is sitting there. You could buy the lot, and this person didn't know what they had. So it's really important that you research not just milestones, but the actual date. And more modern games, when you were talking about earlier attendance, that becomes a big factor. Like, for instance, I have a Miguel Cabrera debut, and with the Marlins, that debut game, there was under 10,000 people there. So it can be a harder ticket to really find.
That's awesome. Those are great tips. Like you said, sometimes people don't know what they have. They just put, here's a lot of tickets and buy what you can. So
yeah, 1970 season ticket or whatever.
All kinds of stuff like Harper home run tickets, Miggy home run tickets, Beltre home run tickets. I was trying to get them all, but it just becomes way too much. So the only one I really stayed with was Roy Halladay win tickets. He had just over 200 wins in his career, Hall of Famer, obviously. And the problem with that collection is that Blue Jays tickets are very hard to get, especially older tickets. So I'm kind of stuck in the wind on that one.
Well, half the fun, like you're saying, is the search, and once you find it, it's off to the new treasure. I got a question for you though. Since you are the Booger King, you are the creator, you're the ticket master before the ticket master existed. What is your Mount Rushmore of tickets? If you had 5 tickets that, not necessarily that's your favorite, but if anyone out there is looking, these are the 5 hallmarks of tickets. What would you put on your Mount Rushmore?
Well, first off, I'll say it's a complete team effort. I have an admin team of people that have all kinds of knowledge. I am in no way a master myself. One of our admin team had a ticket from every single World Series game, and then he auctioned it off. Like, it's just incredible the amount of knowledge our admin team and others have in the group. But I would say if I have to pick a Mount Rushmore, I would have to go off of tickets that I've actually seen up for sale, because you could come up with all kinds of stuff and never have seen a ticket for it. But like Roger Maris, his 61 home run year, that's still a really popular ticket to have, home run number 61. It's not relatively too expensive that I've seen, but some people try to collect that home run chase, and it's hard to get all those tickets. I've seen Jackie Robinson debut is another really good one. Also, the Babes Called Shot is another really popular one. I would say, I know there's some other ones. I'm just got on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, those are good ones.
That's a start. That's a great. I'm just writing down here so I know what I need to go after. That was my way of being secretive about it.
Oh, well, you got to put out second and third mortgages to get some of those.
But
That's all right. I know Adam.
Yeah, Derek's loaded. He just sells wrestling stuff like crazy. So he sells to Hulk Hogan. So
I can't even get WrestleMania 3 tickets, so you know he's a dirty liar. But I'll take a compliment.
Well, Patrick, we appreciate you coming on. Like I says, you're obviously knowledgeable. I appreciate the way you've started. It's really cool, and I'm sure you've kind of seen it. You kind of get your own little community. It's been the same way for the podcast. We started 2 years ago, and now we just have more and more people. I do taxes, and that's kind of how it whole started. Is Derek sold stuff on eBay, and I said, hey, what we need to do is we need to figure out how we can go to football and basketball games but not have to pay any taxes. So now I make sure we legally do that.
That's great.
Yeah, as far as any words of wisdom or advice for a lot of our people are resellers, but we do have a lot of collectors, like we said. We'll send them over to your social media at Boogers. Do you have any other social media or words of advice for our listeners?
I just have the Facebook group. We're up over 2,600 members now and constantly growing, so it's been great. Just kind of piggybacking off what I said before, when you're researching, research dates or teams and not necessarily a specific milestone if that's what you're looking for. Or if you're looking for a player's debut date, don't just say Paul Goldschmidt debut ticket. Do some research, find out what the date was, where the game was played. You could maybe pick up a ticket book for that whole team for the season for the price of a debut ticket. You never know. But the important thing is just to collect what you want. Don't look to resell. It's really hard to resell in such a niche market. Obviously, the more popular things like Mantle homers and, Jackie Robinson tickets are easier to sell. But collect what you think is fun, whether it's a memory you had or a favorite player or team. or your team won the World Series, get those tickets because you'll treasure them and you'll have those memories to stand by.
Well, that's awesome. Great advice. Thanks for jumping on, Patrick. We appreciate what you do. I'm really grateful for your father. Like it says, I don't know if we recognize our military people enough, but appreciate his service and his willingness to do what he did for our country and raise a son that says, hey, tickets are cool because, we like it.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, it's been great. I appreciate you bringing me on.
Yeah, thanks, man. We appreciate it. So we always end the show, like I said, we're going to end it with you. We call it death piles and taxes. Do you know what the term death piles mean?
No.
So death piles is just like what you're talking about. When people resell stuff, they just kind of put it in a pile. They like to go for the hunt. But if you're not listing stuff and selling it, it's basically your death pile.
I got you.
So that's where it is. It's kind of that play on death piles and taxes because no matter what, we always say you got to pay taxes. So those are the two things, Patrick. Let's see if you can do it. So the two things in life that are for certain, Patrick, are what?
Death piles and taxes.
There you go. He knows, man.
Oh, bro, thank you.